Hi everybody and welcome to Cultivation with yours truly. My name is Cassie McLaren. I'm a psychic medium based out of Colorado, and today I have a November 2019 recap for you. So in these recap videos, I like to just kind of go over the astrology of the month that has just passed, and also talk about some of the energies I was noticing within myself and within others, within the collective, and then go into a little bit of personal stuff just in my life so you can get to know me a little bit better, and then talk about my playlist for the month because I'm super into music. I'm synesthetic, very visual, so I can listen to a song or an album and be immersed in a different world. So I love sharing music. It's one of my passions. So to get started, at the very beginning of the month, on the 1st of November, we had Venus, which is the planet of value, money, love, things of that nature, beauty, going from free and easy Sagittarius, kind of adventurous, to Scorpio. Going into Sagittarius from Scorpio, my bad. So she was in Scorpio where it was kind of like deep and dark and intense and passionate, and then she went into Sagittarius, which is a very free and adventurous type of energy. Then we had the full moon in Taurus on the 12th of the month. This was a lot about kind of making an inner sanctuary within yourself, building up habits to make you feel at home, and allowing you to kind of go inward and find comfort within yourself as we were braving the storms of the Mercury retrograde, which pretty much happened all throughout the month. We'll talk about when Mercury went direct in just a second. On the 18th, we had Mars going into Scorpio from Libra. So Mars in Libra was kind of asking permission, trying to be fair, like kind of a fair fighter, which Mars does not like to be in because Mars is the planet of war. It's aggressive. It can be typically masculine type energy. And so when Mars went into Scorpio, it was, also Mars is about doing, its action. So the planet of action going from this kind of, oh, is it okay? Is everybody happy? To Scorpio, which is the sign of death, transformation, really digging deep, investigating, things of that nature. Mars going into there, this is into Scorpio, is a lot about power plays, passionate action, getting things done, really being into doing the things that you're interested in or finding things out, kind of digging things up. Then on the 20th, we had Mercury stationed direct in Scorpio. So Mercury had been retrograde since Halloween in the sign of Scorpio, so that death, rebirth, digging deep, taboo, sometimes like sexuality, other people's money issues, things of that nature, stuff that you don't really talk about in polite company. And then having Mercury, which is the planet of communication and thinking, going backwards through this sign of kind of, it's almost like the sewage of the zodiac, it's very necessary, but it's kind of the stuff that we don't really, it's not like happy stuff to deal with, it's very intense stuff. So when Mercury was when Mercury was retrograde, in Scorpio, we were kind of really digging up parts about the way in which we think, the way in which we communicate. We were digging up these deep kind of negative thought patterns or habits or ways of communicating that we hopefully we're able to start to alchemize and change a little bit. So with Mercury stationing direct, it's kind of starting to come clean with ourselves about this theme of communication, and seeing how vulnerable we can be in our communication. One of my rabbits is kind of chewing on something, and I'm wondering if I should take it away from her because it might impede in the video. Edison, are you going to keep doing that or what? I don't know, she might stop. Anyway, I'll take it from her if I have to. Bun mom problems. So Yeah. Let's see, where was I? Yeah, on the 22nd, the sun went into Sagittarius. So this is, of course, previously the sun was in Scorpio, so highlighting those deep, dark, taboo subjects. And then when the sun goes into Sagittarius, which it did on the 22nd, this is the holiday season. This is holly jolly. This is decorating. It's lights. It's kind of bringing light and hope into the darkness. It's the sign of religion, expansion, celebration, travel, things of that nature. So that's where the spotlight is for the next 30 days or so until the sun goes into Capricorn next month in December. Then on the 25th, we had Venus going from that free and easy Sagittarius, which she entered on the 1st, into a more serious, business-oriented, classy, I guess you could say, type of situation, type of energy. So again, Venus is money, beauty, love, value, going from that celebratory aspect into Capricorn, which is worth, its time, its structure, its seriousness. Venus in Capricorn to me is like the 80s businesswoman type of situation. It's like you got the blazer, you got the heels, you're walking down the street, and you're about to go to a board meeting where you're like directing everything. So thinking about money as well, and kind of like structuring that, we're getting a little bit more serious when it comes to that. And then on the 26th, we had a new moon in Sagittarius. So this was all about new beginning, like kind of refreshing our dream. So new beginnings, or kind of restarting beginnings in our dreams, sparking back up the visionary aspect of what we can actually do and be in our life. Then we had Neptune go direct on the 27th. It's been retrograde since late June. So Neptune is the planet of dreams, intuition, nebulousness, confusion, creativity, dissolving into the one, into everything. It's like when you lose your ego and just become like source, essentially. So it's watery, it's confusing, it's about dreams, boundaries, substance abuse problems can come up, deception, illusion, things of that nature. So when it was retrograde, we were dealing with a lot of those issues around that, kind of seeing where our boundaries lie, seeing what's real and what's not. Sometimes we could be tricked. I know I was definitely tricked during this retrograde. I thought I had found like a dream relationship, and I had certain ideas about where my business was going and all this stuff, and then I realized that I was just like, I was kind of being duped. I am gonna take this toy from my rabbit though, because she is chewing on it now. Dude, seriously, you can chew on this literally whenever you want, just not right now. Sweet. So, yeah, now that Neptune is direct, we're kind of integrating those lessons, and we're trying to see, where are my boundaries? What are my dreams? Do I want to work more on my intuition? Things of that nature. So yeah, that's the astrology for the month of November that we just lived through. As far as energies go, I was noticing a lot of like really quick and sudden change and hardship. A lot of surrender, kind of like just being like, okay, well, I can't control anything about this, and so I have, like, being forced to just let go of certain things, going really inward, really trying to go and do that inner shadow work, lots of shadow work going on, shining the light kind of within you so you can illuminate yourself more, so that you can shine outwards more, so that you can shine. It's almost like lighting a bunch of candles in a cave, and then people can see the cave from miles away because it's just shining bright with all these candles in it. So energy like that, really working through negative thought patterns, defeatist type patterns, well, thoughts and actions too. Certain thought loops we can get ourselves into that are negative, making up stories about how things are when we really truly don't even know because we haven't asked or time needs to pass or whatever. We can kind of think ourselves into these kind of nasty places and then get really down on ourselves and have this kind of defeatist feeling about it, like, oh, I don't know if I can actually do this. And then we're like clearing the garden bed. I feel like 2019 has been really deciding, like pulling up who you are, who you're not, where you want to go, where you don't ever want to go again, what you're willing to try, kind of parsing through those things. And now that we kind of know what needs to stay and what needs to go, we're kind of clearing what needs to go, and we're making I imagine it like a clean garden bed. You know, you have a garden bed, maybe it's got a lot of leaves on it from the fall and then a bunch of snow fell, and, you know, now we've just got these gross leaves, and so we have to get all of that nasty shit away, the things that we're kind of shining light on ourselves and integrating, bits of our shadow side that we're integrating. We're facing these things, we're getting rid of the shit, and then we're kind of left at this point with a pretty clean garden bed. And maybe we've already planted our seed and we're worried if it's going to grow. Of course, you know, when we plant a seed, we don't dig it up and say, oh my God, is it growing yet? Like, it hasn't, I don't know if it's going to grow. I don't trust that this seed's going to grow. It's kind of like we trust it's going to grow because it's a seed and we give it water and soil, and it's probably going to start to come out of the soil soon. So there's this feeling of like either wanting to dig the seed up to see if it's actually blooming, or kind of having this clear bed and just being like, okay, so what do I plant here now that I feel like so many things have been kind of stripped away from me, down to this bare bones type of clean slate where you can really grow anything or go anywhere. And then personally, for me, in the middle of the month, my folks who've been trying to sell my childhood home since like April finally got an offer in the middle of November. And my mom has been wanting to move away from Colorado. She's been wanting to move to Florida since before she met my dad. And then she met my dad and she stayed because of him. And then she had my brother, or me and my brother, and my brother and I. And she just kind of got stuck here, and now she's ready to go, and the house is sold, the house that I spent most of my life growing up in, my home base. And I'm super close with my family as well, so having them jet off to a different place without necessarily having that home base anymore. I know I'll still have it. I can always call them, I can always visit them at their new place/house in Florida. I know I can do all of these things, but it feels definitely very different for me. I have like very extreme emotions. I'm a 0-degree Scorpio moon, if that has anything to do with anything, and I just, you know, I'm intuitive. I feel things in the full spectrum, and sometimes that can be very overwhelming and sometimes a little bit frightening for me, and I've used my family as a crutch for pretty much my entire life. And so now that they're going to do their thing, and my mom she's going to live her dream, she's gonna go do the thing that she's always wanted to do, these really big changes are happening, and so that's been really hard for me. I've been crying a lot, but that's okay because it is what it is, and, you know, I'm growing from it. So the other thing too is my roommate fell and broke her wrist going roller skating recently, and so this November's been very hard for her too, because she hasn't been able to use one of her arms, and she's in a master's program where she's had, you know, final project to create, and so that's been a big thing as well. So just a lot of just weird stuff happening in November, and feeling like, oh crap, things are changing, and now all of a sudden I'm in this situation and I'm gonna try to just figure it out. And that's kind of how this whole year has been, just lots of shifts happening. And then last but not least, as far as my playlist for this month goes, I really fell in love with a band called Black Belt Eagle Scout. They are absolutely incredible. They are a native group, so you should definitely support them and like purchase all of their things. Not just because of that, but also because they're absolutely amazing. The singer will like play drums and sing and play guitar, and just has the most amazing, hauntingly beautiful voice. And then oh yeah, I saw them open for Devendra Banhart last month, and just, I like cried. The performance was so beautiful. So Black Belt Eagle Scout, both of their albums, Mother of My Children and At the Party with My Brown Friends, those are both really good albums. And then this band that I just really fucking love, they're called Men I Trust. They have this album called Uncle Jazz, and it has a bunch of the songs that they had released just kind of randomly throughout the past couple of years. They just had some singles that were like bopping really good. And then they put those onto an album and made like a bunch of new songs, and that's what Uncle Jazz is. It is like baby making music, you know, like you kind of you put it on, you kind of start to groove a little bit, you know. If you're single, you kind of you groove around with your pet, or you know, with yourself. If you're with a partner, maybe you grab them, spin them around a little bit. It's a pretty good album. And then Lost Wisdom Part 2 by Mount Eerie, very, very sad. Mount Eerie in general is very, very sad, which, you know, I like, because it's a spectrum of emotion that is interesting to feel, but sometimes it can be a little bit overwhelming. So very beautiful, also very sad. Anyway, as usual, this video is way longer than I wanted it to be, but I mean, I guess so was November. Which is silly, because just because the month changes doesn't mean that like all the energy is just gonna suddenly be different. But hey man, you never know. There are new and exciting things coming in December. I am actually probably not going to do Tipsy Future anymore, because I am cutting back on my drinking and don't really want to be doing that anymore. So it'll just be like probably sober astrology insights. I might still have guests on from time to time. I might do a Tipsy Future here and there, but I think it's going to be like less of that being like the thing that I do. But I'll talk about December energy in the December astrological update video that I'll do in a couple days here. And then yeah, check me out on my website. It's just cultivationwithcassidy.com. And I'm also Cultivation with Cassidy on Facebook, Instagram, pretty much everything else. If you like what I do, you can get readings and healings from me. I can do them over the phone, through video, in person. If you're in the Colorado area, I mean, you'd have to be in the Colorado area to do it in person, obviously. But I also do circles. I have little meditation circles, typically twice a month, every second and fourth Sunday. Those are for free. They are donation based, but like you can come for free. No worries on that. And I live stream those at the Cultivation with Community Facebook page. And yeah, I think that's all I got for you. Good job for surviving November. Love you guys, and I will see you in a few days for the December update.